Hey guys, today we have Iswa Vardhan and he is having total 4.7 year of experience of Java, Spring Boot and microservices domain. And those who want to give same free mock interview, please fill out the form below in the description. So now let's get started. Hey, hello Iswar, how are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm also good. Shall we start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. So Iswar, can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
Yeah, sure. So totally, I have 4.7 years of experience as a Java full
Mm-hmm.
stack developer, mostly into the Java Spring Boot though. Right now I am working in a project with investment banking. So it is kind of related to kind of a Shark Tank where they bring the investors and the clients together and they basically
Mm-hmm.
bring them onto a stage. So this is how they do it. So coming for our project, what we basically do is like we basically capture the meetings, the interactions that are happening between the client and the investor, and we basically process them from the third party vendors. So when I say third party vendors, it's like a Google Meet, Teams, Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So we capture these particular payloads and we basically process it into our own banking domains payload and we send it to the downstream so that they can start billing on this. So
Okay.
here the tech stack which we are using is Java 17 and
Mm-hmm.
it is a microservices. And
Okay.
for microservices communication, we are using a Kafka, and for deployment, we are using Jenkins.
Okay, so as you said, it's based on Java 17. Can you tell me some new features of Java 17 that you guys are using in this project?
To be precise, we are not using much of a Java 17
Okay.
features.
So
We
why did
mostly
you
use
choose
Java
Java
8.
17 then?
It's kind of a we know that it is like a Java 17 is kind of a precise. We have a support
Mm-hmm.
for it, right? For a Spring Boot 3.2, as we know, like for Spring Boot 3.2, Java 17 is the base.
Okay.
So that's the reason we have used.
Mm-hmm.
Although we are not using Java 17, so there are quite some features which are helpful for
Mm-hmm.
the projects. So it's kind of a the features like sealed classes where we have a more control over the classes and
Mm-hmm.
also like the pattern matchings
Okay,
and
okay.
also the records to avoid Pojo classes which has
Mm-hmm.
the boilerplate code and all. So we
Okay,
have
okay.
some features, but we are not using
S-
them.
Okay. So what are the design patterns that you are aware of?
Uh, so the mostly used design patterns which we use in our project is like a factory design pattern and
Mm-hmm.
a singleton design pattern, and I
Okay.
said the hexagonal design pattern. So these are the three
Okay.
things which we mostly use.
Okay, okay. Got it. Can you tell me few collections names that you are using in your project?
So we mostly use the array list
Or
or
a
else
list?
array list and hash map
Okay.
and
Can you tell me the internal working of HashMap?
so the internal working of hash maps is kind of we basically have buckets in our
Mm-hmm.
maps, hash maps. So within that
Mm-hmm.
buckets, we'll be having the elements which we want to put. So initially,
Mm-hmm.
first we'll be having a linked list for it, and then it will be going to the binary tree
Okay.
after its reach.
Okay.
So here, when it comes to the working process, so basically
Mm-hmm.
it takes a hash code first initially.
Mm-hmm.
So first it will check for the hash code. Within the hash code, it will take the buckets, which bucket
Mm-hmm.
it needs to take, and from there it will be using a like equals method when we get a hash
Mm-hmm.
collision. So within the hash collision, so it will be adding it into the elements. So whenever we add it, so this is the process it will be going ahead.
Okay, okay. So what changes were introduced in Java 8 for HashMap?
For hash map, as I said, so from the linked list, so when it reaches a limit of 8, if I guess, so
8.
it will be converted into red back T IP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And lookup performance increase from ON to O login in worst case scenarios.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what are volatile, synchronized, and atomic variables in Java?
So these are basically used for a multi-threading concept. So
Mm-hmm.
volatile is something like if I am adding a volatile keyword for a variable, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a like whenever one of the thread changes a value, so it will be
Mm-hmm.
reflecting for the other threads as well. So it will be
Mm-hmm.
basically added into our shared memory location. So
Okay.
that's about a synchronized is something like it is basically like a synchronized method or a synchronized block. We can use it. So whenever we use a synchronization, so only a single thread is allowed into that particular block, so that
Mm-hmm.
we don't
Yeah,
create
it
any.
ensures mutual exclusion and visibility.
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And atomic is something similar to the volatile, but it's kind of it updates the values on the threads, which I'm not sure how to explain that clearly.
Atomic variables like atomic integer, like
Yes,
it
atomic
provides
integer.
lock-free thread save operations.
Yeah.
Mm. So can volatile alone ensures thread safety?
No, to be honest, it's kind of like it's just used for updating. Other than that, we can't say that it is kind of a thread
Mm.
safety can promise.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Volatile only ensures visibility, not atomicity. So it cannot
Yeah.
prevent race conditions during compound operations like increment. Okay. Guys, I would like to share one important thing with you. Actually, we had launched complete interview preparation material, structure step by myself, expert and MNC's interviewers. And the best part is that now no one need to go anywhere else to prepare interviews. There's a 99% chance that interviewers will ask questions from this material. So basically, it contains a lot of material categorized by experience level, means each experience level has different material with all possible interview question and answers for Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, Kafka, Microservices, Java coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. I have provided the link to get this in the below description. And if someone need this material plus two real enterprise client projects for reference with video recorded sessions plus one-on-one lifetime doubt sessions and referrals to the big MNCs like TCS, Infosys, Deloitte, then they should check the interview preparation kit. I will provide the link for this as well in the description below. So now moving to our interview. And guys, before moving to our interview, I will like to highlight one important thing. Iswar recently purchased an interview preparation kit and he is able to crack multiple interviews now, and that kit is very helpful for him. So Iswar, can you please provide some feedback?
Yeah, sure, Arli. So it
Yeah.
was really helpful. So I'm able to crack a couple of
Mm-hmm.
interviews because of that, and also like most of the questions are almost asked from this kit itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really helpful.
Okay, thank you. So yes, now guys, moving to our interview. So Iswar, can you tell me the difference between thread, runnable, and callable?
Thread runnable and callable, so both are used for running the thread itself. But the difference
Mm-hmm.
is like so if you are expecting something in return, so you can
Mm-hmm.
use callable. So if you
Okay.
have only the method like a void or something, if you're not expecting anything just to run the application, so
Mm-hmm.
you run the thread, you will be using a runnable.
Yes, when a task with no return value, we should use runnable, right? And a task that returns a result and can throw exception, we should use a callable like
Callable.
executor service. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how would you cancel a long running callable?
Uh, I need to check on
Okay.
that.
Yeah, it's fine. So we should submit it using future executor dot
Mm.
submit. Have you if you heard
Yeah, yeah,
about
I
this?
remember. Yeah.
And future dot cancel, something
Okay.
like that. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, moving ahead. What are the different types of class loaders available? Do you know?
So there are basically three class loaders we have.
Mm-hmm.
So one is a system class loader, bootstrap
Mm-hmm.
class loader, and
Mm-hmm.
extension class loader. So
Mm-hmm.
bootstrap class loader is the first layer of class loader, which
Mm-hmm.
basically runs the classes that are present in the root level classes.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Okay.
next one will be bootstrap class loader. So which it
Mm-hmm.
basically runs the JDK classes, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and the extension class loaders are something like the return class loaders which we are using. So these are the class loaders which will be used in the extension class loader.
Okay. So do you know about immutable objects, right? So my
Mhm.
question is, can an immutable object have mutable fields?
Uh, Well, if you are saying like immutable object, so I don't think it's a good way of using the mutable values within the immutable object.
Yeah, that's correct. It's not a good way, but yes,
We
we can
can.
have mutable field, but we have to must ensure the field is not modified or exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if you add a mutable object to a hash set and then change it?
Mm, uh, I need to check on that.
Okay, okay. So basically, it can corrupt the set. If the fields used in hash code or equal changes, the object may not be found or removed correctly. It's leading to unpredictable behavior. Okay, we can not do that. Okay. Can you tell me the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions?
Yes. Checked and unchecked exceptions are kind of like when you say checked exceptions, these are kind of like we might have a issue that might be
Mm-hmm.
coming up. These are kind of like expected
Mm-hmm.
error exceptions that we might get. So we need
Mm-hmm.
to handle them with try catch block or the throws block, or else you'll
Mm-hmm.
get a compile time exceptions. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like when you are trying to do input output streams for the
Mm-hmm.
files or something, you will be using unchecked
Mm-hmm.
exceptions. Sorry,
Okay.
checked
Checked
exceptions.
exceptions.
Unchecked
Okay.
exceptions are something like these are not expected. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like when you're doing arithmetic operations, or else like
Mm-hmm.
when you get a null pointer exception. So these are the kind of
Mm-hmm.
exceptions or unchecked exceptions.
Okay. Okay. So do you know about functional interfaces?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Yeah.
question is, can a functional interface have default or static methods?
Yes, we can have a number of default or static methods.
And what about abstract method?
You should have only a single abstract method if you're using
Mm.
functional methods.
Okay. Okay, yeah, moving ahead, as we know, like Spring Boot is very popular for our
Mhm.
backend, but we traditionally we used to use the Spring Framework. So, I just want to know what's the difference between Spring Framework and Spring Boot, and why do we need Spring Boot over the Spring Framework?
There are quite some things that
Mm-hmm.
Spring cannot do directly. Something like auto configurations, or else
Mm-hmm.
the server or something. So Spring won't do that. We need to do it
Mm-hmm.
manually. So there is a lot of configuration stuff we need to do with a
Okay.
Spring.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing our own server, or else like the
Mm-hmm.
configurations. Giving an example of, let's say that if you want to connect to a database or something, we
Mm-hmm.
need to do everything manually, creating the data sets and all the things. But when it
Okay.
comes to the Spring Boot, so we have all the starter packages and
Mm-hmm.
auto configurations and
Mm-hmm.
all the things. So by default, Spring Boot uses embedded Tomcat server. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to mostly concentrate on the configuration part. So Spring Boot will handle everything. So giving the same example of connecting the database or something, all you need to
Mm-hmm.
do is like give the configuration details like URL, password, and all
Mm-hmm.
the things. Spring Boot will handle everything.
Mm, correct. I mean, how auto configuration work in the Spring Boot internally?
So internally, what happens is like, so when you say enabling the auto configuration, so what
Mm-hmm.
happens is that, so it will have a file called spinning.factories.
Mm.
So within the spring.factories, so you'll be having the files which are needs to be configured. So
Okay.
where the all the configuration part will be taken care by the
Mm-hmm.
bean factory.
Okay. So, what are some common starters that you have used in your projects?
So the common starters which we have used is the web, the first one, Spring Starter Web, and then
Mm-hmm.
the JPA.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and these are the two main things which we mostly used.
And what about JUnit test cases?
Yeah, JUnit test cases for Mockito and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did use that as well.
Okay. So, do you write test cases as well?
Yes, we do write the test cases using Mockito and
Okay.
JUnit.
What should be that? What should I mean? What's the test coverage in your project?
So the test coverage which we kept for the Sonar
Mm-hmm.
integration was 90%.
90%.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what's your way to write a test case?
So it's kind of a like, as I said, we should use Mockito for this.
Mm-hmm.
So to mock our objects. So whenever we need to write a JUnit test cases, so first
Mm-hmm.
initially what and all the extra
Mm-hmm.
like auto-wide fields which we are using.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to mock them all, and
Mm-hmm.
so we need to basically use a when and then cases to
Mm-hmm.
get the values, and we will be using a assets to validate them.
Okay. Okay, so since you are having 4.7 year of experience, right? You must have seen a lot of productions, right, in your career. So I
Yeah.
just want to know what are some common production level practices in Spring Boot or in our project that we should follow.
So if you are saying about the best practices which we need to follow, the first main best practice as a developer we need to
Mm-hmm.
do is like avoiding the null checks, because it is a
Okay.
very frequent
Mm-hmm.
exceptions we see on our daily basis. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing is we need to have a null pointer check.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes for like principles, we should always better to follow the solid principles, so that
Mm-hmm.
the other developers which they are when they are seeing our code, they need to
Mm-hmm.
understand it directly, and we need to concentrate on the readability part,
Okay.
and the validations needs to be handled perfectly when it goes
Okay.
to Spring Boot.
Okay, so yes, that's correct. But these are related to, I mean, these are related to the code practices, best
Mhm.
coding practices. I'm just asking about like production level practices, like what should we, I mean, what should we follow while production, before production, post production?
Uh,
Like for
well,
example, we should properly maintain profiles for production, right?
yeah,
As well as for different environments. We should, if we are doing something in dev environment, we don't need encryption and decryption. But while producing our code into the production, we should properly handle encryption part, right? So these are some production level best practices.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We
yeah.
do follow them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so we basically needs to have our own application dot properties for each of
Mm-hmm.
our application sorry environments,
Environments
so that
like
we don't.
before production, we should have a rollback plan. We should document our commit IDs, like if something goes wrong, so we should revert to this commit ID, right? So this is
Yeah,
also one of the best practices in the production environment,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and post production, we should analyze, we should check the logs regularly, because we may see some issues, right? We may face some
Yeah,
issues. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So moving ahead, how do you secure Spring Boot REST API?
So here we basically use a OAuth 2, the JWT tokens,
Mm-hmm.
to secure
Mm-hmm.
our JWT tokens.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want me to elaborate, so what
No, no,
we
it's
do is
fine.
like, hmm,
Oh, it's fine, fine.
okay.
What are stateless versus stateful?
Uh, are we talking about the APIs?
Yeah, yeah, APIs.
Stateless APIs and stateful APIs. I need to check on that. I did
Mm-hmm.
read it, but I not recollecting that, to be honest.
Okay, okay. So basically in stateless, there is no session. Each request carries credentials.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and in stateful server stores sessions information. So it's common in web application. Okay. Yeah. So tell me the role of JPA repository in Spring Data JPA.
So the JPA repository is basically where it uses a HQL language,
Mm-hmm.
so Hibernate query language. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like you don't have much of a boilerplate code, right? Writing
Mm-hmm.
like writing your own queries and all the things. So this layer
Mm-hmm.
ensures that it basically write the queries and also
Mm-hmm.
save them to the database.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Got it. Mm. Do you know about lazy versus eager loading in JPA?
Yes. So eager loading and lazy loading are kind of
Mm-hmm.
whenever you particularly basically used for while using the join columns and
Mm-hmm.
all the things, it is kind of a fixed type we use. So it basically, when I say lazy loading, it's kind of like whenever you run the application, it brings
Mm-hmm.
the configurations and it calls only when you try to hit that particular
Mm-hmm.
repository. So eager loading is something like it will while running the application, it will make everything ready for you, the configuration and all
Mm-hmm.
the things.
Okay. Okay, so how do you write custom queries?
So you can use annotation at query,
Okay.
and you can just write a query and you can just mention
So do you
whether to send
write
it.
queries?
We do write in some situations
Okay.
our own queries.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Uh, moving ahead. Since you are saying you are working on a microservice architecture, right? And the communications are happening by Kafka, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So those communications are asynchronous communication or what?
They are asynchronous communication.
Asynchronous. And what about synchronized
We
communication?
so
As
synchronized
sync. Mm-hmm.
communication, we basically use REST APIs for it. But
REST
although it's not
APIs.
much, we are not using it, but we are using it in some rare case scenarios.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So are you guys using API gateway, right?
Yes, we are using API
Can you
gateways.
please give some overview on this?
Yes, so API gateways is kind of an entry point
Mm-hmm.
for a particular application. So when a client wants to
Mm-hmm.
hit, when a client wants to have some data that he needs or something, so it is the first part he'll come like he will hit it. So API gateway is a secured way of
Mm-hmm.
REST calls. So where all the configurations will be taking place. Like let's say that if you're
Mm-hmm.
internal user and if you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to expose your API to the external
Mm-hmm.
users or something, so you can just
Mm-hmm.
in your resource policies or somewhere you can just say that you can whitelist or blacklist the people who wants to use
Mm-hmm.
and don't wants to use the REST API calls. So
Okay.
all the configurations and all the things can be handled from API.
Okay. Okay. So tell me in microservice architecture, what are the challenges with distributed transactions?
The challenges, I'm not much
Okay.
sure
So
which I think.
consistency across service is very, very hard.
Mhm.
There might have problems like network failures, partial commits, data rollback issues, and we should use different design patterns in solving these, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So moving ahead, uh, let's say one of your microservices is down, but others are depending on it. What should you do, or what should happen?
So in this case, so we can do two things. So
Mm-hmm.
one thing is kind of a like whether uh, so you can do two things out here. So first
Mm-hmm.
thing, what you can do is like you can just what we do is like as it is an event-driven domain, we basically
Mm-hmm.
store the failed values in our event store database. So that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing of doing it. So other thing which we can do is like we can just use a transactional rollback
Mm-hmm.
for the remaining microservices out here. So you can just say that whenever there is a failure, you can just send a response back to our
Mm-hmm.
other microservices saying that this has failed. You can just roll back this up. So you can do these two things.
Okay. Okay. Have you used a resilience 4G or Hystrix?
We didn't use actually both of them. So
Okay.
so if you want to do anything about that, so we use our own
Okay.
service.
So what is retry, rate limiting? Do you know?
Yes. So retry, rate limiting are the things like which we use it for a response. Let's say that when
Mm-hmm.
we say retry, so it's a retry annotation. So it's kind of a like whenever there is a failure, so you can
Mm-hmm.
just retry these many number of times. So you can just specify in your application.properties or
Mm-hmm.
the YML file within the property saying that if this has failed, so you can just try for these many number of times. And if it
Mm-hmm.
is not working, you can just roll it back. So that is a retry. And what was the other question?
Retry and rate limiting.
Rate limiting is something like so it's just number of hits you can do it for an hour
Mm-hmm.
for your rest call. So you can
Okay.
just give a rate limiting for that.
Okay. So do you know about saga pattern?
Yes. So
Yeah.
Saga pattern is kind of like to handle mostly the failure scenarios. We will be using a Saga design pattern. So you
Mm-hmm.
basically have two types of Saga design pattern. So one is a orchestrator and the other one is a event type. So when I say orchestrator, so it's kind of like if you have a big project. So when you have an enterprise level of a project, so
Mm-hmm.
it's better to go with the orchestrated design pattern. So it's kind of a orchestrated design pattern is like you'll have a particular microservice
Mm-hmm.
which acts as an orchestrator. So whatever the microservice wants to communicate with the other microservices, so it will be
Mm-hmm.
going through this particular orchestrator. So if there is a failure, so it will be everything will be handled in a orchestrator. So the
Okay.
other one is like a like event is kind of like you don't need to have a particular microservice to
Mm-hmm.
handle this. So when you go from one microservice to the other microservice, so the failure will be handled by that particular next microservices itself. So whenever it fails, it
Mm-hmm.
rolls back to the previous microservice.
Okay. Yes, that's correct. And also previously we were discussing about the challenges with distributed transaction, right? So
Mhm.
we can also use the saga patterns here. We could use with orchestration or right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay. So moving ahead. So Iswar, I would like to share a few coding questions to you.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Can you please share your screen and open any editor? Are you comfortable, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Yes.
So,
Good. Yes. Okay. So first question is write a function to find or write a program to find the first non-repeating character in a string.
okay. Let me copy paste this in my inclusive.
Mm-hmm. H. Hmm. Okay. Nice. Please also share your approach.
Uh,
Explain your code.
sure. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
here, what I am doing is like so using a Java 8. So first, I am
Mm-hmm.
converting it to the ASCII, which using
Mm-hmm.
a chars, and then I am converting into the char using the char object map to
Mm-hmm.
object, and using a grouping by. What I am doing is like so I am storing it with the characters as a key
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and I'm counting. So whenever the second time it comes, let's say
Mm-hmm.
LL, second time it comes, it will start adding the second time
Mm-hmm.
as two. So here it will be like H1, E1, L2,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
O1. So and here I'm using a link hash map because so
Mm-hmm.
that whenever the first value that comes, it will be stored in a first bucket because it needs to be however it is coming, we need to put it as it is if you want the
Mm-hmm.
first one. So
Okay.
in the second line, what I am doing is like I am just streaming it out,
Mm-hmm.
filtering only non-duplicate values,
Mm-hmm.
and
And that
within that
is
I am
coming
taking
first. Print.
yes
Okay.
and find first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Moving ahead, my second question is
Mhm.
write a program to calculate the nth Fibonacci number using memoization. Don't need to write with Stream API. Just write in a simple coding. You have to uh, write a method or program.
Can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so just do one thing. Don't stick with memorization. Just write a program to find the nth, to calculate the nth Fibonacci number.
To another to check the another Fibonacci number.
Nth. If I am
And
passing
okay.
10 to the, yes.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so first number will be 0, F0, I mean, and second will be 1,
Yeah,
right? And then third will be first plus second, and then fourth will be second plus third, something like that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Done.
Mm, mm,
They needed a space.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Moving to the next question.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Uh, mm, you receive high traffic on an API that updates a share counter. Okay.
Okay.
There is an API that updates a share counter and you receive a high traffic on that API. How would you make it thread safe and performant? Can you please do by using the coding part?
Yeah.
Just write a class counter service only. Or let's do one thing. Let's end this interview. I'll tell you how can we do that. We could use either atomic integer or long adder for performance under high concurrency. Like while designing a counter service, we could use atomic integer. Everything is same. Uh, Only we should use atomic integer, right?
Race condition. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Swar. It's done from my end.